and so much more, my friends. But first, the issue of this segment, and in many ways, my friends, it is clearly the economic issue of our time. Obama's depression. As I speak to you now, on Tuesday, July the 6th, our holiday, July the 4th weekend is now over. And after celebrating our great day of independence, as many Americans now get back to work, what is now facing them is a bleak economic picture and the possibility of another major double-dip recession, if not depression. Everywhere you look, my friends, every serious economist that I read or talk to, either on the right, the center, or the left of the political spectrum, all of them are now telling me that the economic fundamentals aren't going up, but down. That this country is now on the brink of a major depression that will literally be reminiscent of the 1930s. And this, my friends, was not supposed to happen. In fact, this is why we have been spending money like drunken sailors over the past 2 years. This is why we had the first stimulus under Bush. This is why we had TARP. This is why we had the major bailouts of the banks. This is why we had the $1 trillion stimulus under Obama. This is why we have passed one massive spending program after another, as far as the eye can see. And yet, housing is now down. The real estate market is crumbling. Production is down. Jobs, rather than improving, are getting worse. Last week, the June jobs report came out, and there was the dear leader. There was the con man in chief, the comrade in chief, Obama, coming out and saying, hey, unemployment fell from 9.7% to 9.5%. It's morning again in America. We've turned the fundamental corner. My friends, that is a lie, and he knows it's a lie. As I've said about Obama before, and I'll say it again, to me, the most obvious physical trait about him is his nose. Every time I see him, his nose keeps growing. He's like Pinocchio, one lie after another. Literally, pretty soon, it's going to become the great monument of Washington, D.C., that massive nose of his. As he full well knows, the reason why the unemployment rate fell is not because more jobs are being created. In fact, private sector job growth is pathetically weak. The only gains we've had in jobs are temporary census worker jobs, which are now beginning to end. It's that nearly 700,000 Americans have stopped looking for work. My friends, if you've given up even looking for work, under government statistics, you're not even considered unemployed, because they don't even know whether you're looking for work or not. If you add the real number of people who have given up looking for work, who don't even register on any statistic, it's not 9.5%. The real unemployment rate is way in the double digits. It's way above 10 and climbing. We are now at a post-World War II high in unemployment. Think about that. The serious recession of the late 1960s, early 1970s, the stagflation of Jimmy Carter, the Bush-Clinton early recession of the early 1990s. Unemployment has never been as high as it is today. So tell me, my friends, what have we gotten for this massive expansion of government power? What have we gotten for all of these massive debts and deficits? Nothing. This is the real tragedy of Obamanomics. This, my friends, is what is truly immoral, if not criminal, about what the Democrats, Nancy the Piranha Pelosi, and Dirty Harry Reid, and the dear leader have done. What Barack the buffoon has done is he has bankrupted the United States, spent us to the brink of national ruin and oblivion. For what? We haven't even turned the economy around. It is now on the precipice of collapsing completely. And this time, my friends, there'll be no more money left for bailouts. This time, my friends, there's no more money left to spend. We've already spent it all. This time, if we spend any more, we're going to end up like Greece. And everybody knows it. And that's why at the recent G20 summit, my friends, think about this. Just stand back for a second. Look how far we have fallen. If I would have said to you 5 years ago, that America would lose in Iraq, that America would lose in Afghanistan, that we would be unable, according to our dear leader, to even protect and secure our borders. It's unsealable, according to their dear leader. You can't protect our southern border with Mexico. You can't. You can't. That we would now be on the verge of national bankruptcy. That we would be on the verge of losing our triple credit rating, our triple A rating, as a nation worth buying government bonds from. That we would be like some third world banana republic, that the Europeans, if I said to you 5 years ago, the socialists in Europe, Merkel, Sarkozy, all of the leaders of the European Union are lecturing us at international summits. You have to cut taxes. Your tax burden is too high. You're driving out investment capital. You're now created an unfriendly climate for business. You need to have spending cuts. Your deficits and debt are too high. They're too unsustainable. If I said to you, the communist Chinese, the Chi-Coms as they're called, the Reds, the heirs of Mao Zedong and Vladimir Lenin, Mao and Lenin's disciples are telling us, you are running your economy into the ground. You're taxing too much, regulating too much, and spending too much. You would have said, I'm crazy. Literally, you'd say, Jeff, you're making this up. That America would fall this far, this fast. This is what we are now facing. And now economists everywhere are stating the obvious. My friends, think about it. Economic growth is pathetically weak. We are supposed to be in the middle of a recovery. In fact, since last year. As I was explaining to Ray yesterday. I said, Ray, you realize we're in the middle, statistically, according to economists, we are in the middle of a recovery. We are no longer in negative economic growth. That means we are now in the rebound phase. And every time we've had recoveries in the past, what has been our quarterly growth rate? Every quarter they measure the economic growth indicators. 5, 6, 7, 8%. It's at a measly 2%. Now you say, Jeff, what does that mean? It's very simple. If you have low economic growth, you're not creating jobs. If you're not creating jobs, people aren't making enough income. If they don't have enough income, they can't buy precious goods and services. There's no spending. If there's no spending, businesses will not hire. Businesses will not invest. Businesses will not produce. Businesses will not create jobs. In other words, the whole economy flatlines. And now, because of the reckless spending, the reckless deficits, the crushing regulations, healthcare, just that alone, businesses are now frightened to hire. If you're a businessman, why would you hire? You're going to be hit with a wave of new tax increases.